takes time to change. It takes time to become the new version of you. When you're trying to shed old habits, shed old identities, you're trying to get rid of your addictions, you want to live a new life, you want to create a new reality for yourself. That takes a lot of time, and I know it's obvious. I didn't feel attractive, I didn't feel healthy, I didn't feel so confident. There's this period where you have like this back and forth where you want to quit the old habits, but you try to eat the healthy food, and it's like you do it for a little bit, but then you kind of slide back and you beat yourself up, and then you go back to eating healthy food, and you maybe go a little bit longer, but then you slide back again, and it's just this back and forth. It almost feels like you're yo-yoing, but slowly over time, going longer and longer on the healthy habits, on the healthy food. It takes time to change. It takes time to become the new version of you. When you're trying to shed old habits, shed old identities, you're trying to get rid of your addictions, you want to live a new life, you want to create a new reality for yourself. That takes a lot of time, and I know it's obvious, right? It's common sense. Of course, it takes a lot of time. But really, I don't think we understand how difficult it is to let go of the past version of yourself. You literally need to let your old version die, like the younger past version of you literally needs to die, metaphorically speaking. And that's difficult because, of course, death is hard, right? Ego death, metaphorical identity death. You're stepping into a new version of you that you're not used to. Like, you're not used to being respected or being viewed as attractive. You might not be used to being consistent with your habits, or to looking healthy, or to feeling healthy, feeling comfortable in your own skin, to being flirted with just randomly, all these things. These are all things that I was dealing with, or that I'm still dealing with, right? As I'm on this journey, as I'm documenting in this channel, on this journey to embody the new version of me, and to embody my best version, my highest version. These are all things that I'm not used to, or that I'm slowly getting accustomed to. But my old version, the past version of me, was not used to all these things. I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't feel attractive. I didn't feel healthy. I didn't feel so confident, right? And so there's this period where you have like this back and forth where you want to quit the old habits. Like, let's say you want to quit, eating junk food, but you try to eat the healthy food, and it's like you do it for a little bit, but then you kind of slide back, and then you're like mad at yourself, and then you beat yourself up, and then you go back to eating healthy food, and you maybe go a little bit longer, but then you slide back again. And it's just this back and forth. It almost feels like you're yo-yoing, but slowly over time, you're going longer and longer on the healthy habits, on the healthy food. And that's just an example with the food. But the point is, it's like a transitional phase where you don't just immediately wake up one day and say, okay, I want to be a different version of myself. I'm just going to be different. Theoretically, that's how it works. But in reality, it takes a lot of time to shed all those limiting beliefs, all those fears, all those anxieties, all those insecurities. There's a lot of inner work that needs to be done. A lot of facing your fears and facing all the insecurities that you had, and no longer engaging in the addictions, the bad habits that were used as escapism, whether it was weed, drinking, pornography, whatever it might be. We're no longer engaging in that, so we can't deflect. We can't distract from our insecurities, from our fears anymore. Now we have to face the demons head on, and we have to cast them out, right? We can't just run from them anymore and pretend like they're not there. We need to face our fears and move on from them, and understand that most of what we fear, most of what we are insecure about is not really true. Like when I was sitting here just now and saying I didn't feel attractive, I didn't feel confident, most of that was in my head, right? Most of that was not really true, but it was these lies, these stories that we tell ourselves out of fear of rejection, out of fear of not being good enough, out of fear of not being liked, out of fear of not being seen as worthy. It's all based out of fear. But when you understand that, and you start to look deeper within yourself, you start to understand that you don't have to feel this way. You don't have to tell yourself these same old stories. You don't have to engage in these same old habits. And obviously, habits are hard to break, once you've built them over years and years. That's why it's hard to quit porn. It's hard to quit drinking for a lot of people. It's hard to quit eating junk food and overeating and stick to a diet, stick to a calorie deficit where you have to deal with hunger. It's hard to do those things. Even though we know we consciously want to do them because they're good for us and they'll get us to our goal, it can just be difficult to be consistent. And so because of that difficulty, sometimes we just default back to our old habits, our old self-image, even if we're in this transitional phase where we're starting to shed those insecurities and we're starting to believe higher about ourselves. We're starting to believe more positive things about ourselves and, tell ourselves positive things, and most importantly, show ourselves through our actions, through our daily habits, that we are this new version. There's still this back and forth. So sometimes we default back to the old habits. It's like the devil right? The devil is better than the devil you don't know. I believe that's how the saying goes. And what that is we get comfortable with our struggles. We get comfortable with our insecurities, not because we like them, but because they're familiar, right? It's like an abusive relationship. It's a toxic relationship. We keep running back to that same person, even though they're not good for us, because we're familiar with them and we're too scared and too insecure to just get up and leave. Because if we get up and leave, then we're facing the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what we're going to do next. We don't know who we're going to meet next. And then that's when we get into all the excess dopamine, all the overstimulation, because we're trying to distract and escape from the shitty feeling we have, because we know we shouldn't be going back to that old version. We shouldn't be in this toxic relationship with our old selves anymore. But here we are again, and then we feel bad about it, and then we want to escape those bad feelings. When really the solution is to face that discomfort of the unknown, face that fear of the unknown. Because when you do that, you realize that, yeah, it might feel scary, it might feel weird, but it's really not that bad. So yes, change is uncomfortable. Change is difficult. We're letting go of everything that we've known, or a lot of the things that we've known, a lot of the habits and the lifestyles that we've known, and we're having to start something completely new, something that we're not familiar with, habits and lifestyles that we don't know if they're really going to make us happy. We don't know if they're really going to work or not. But when you slowly start doing it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, eventually that leads to you actually seeing how it affects your life. And most of the time it's very positive, right? You start eating more healthy food. You're like, wait, this was difficult at first, but now I actually kind of feel good eating all this food. You start going to bed earlier. You have a healthier sleep schedule. It's like, man, I used to want to stay up really late, but now when I go to bed earlier, I actually feel better. I actually wake up feeling rested and energized. You start to see all these patterns, and then that slow action, that slow habit building over time, it makes it easier to fully embody that new lifestyle, that new pathway. And you're no longer as beholden to the old addictions and the old habits, because it's like you see it clearly now. You're like, wait, that no longer serves me. I feel better living a healthier lifestyle. I don't want to go backwards. I want to move forwards. And I've seen now how good it feels to be eating well, sleeping well, exercising well, like treating myself with respect, not doom scrolling, not drinking or smoking all the time, like just not watching porn all the time, not wasting my energy chasing mindless dopamine to escape these negative feelings, because now I'm actually starting to feel good. Now I don't really have so many negative feelings anymore. Now I'm actually starting to feel good about myself and my life, and I want to keep feeling that way. I want to keep feeling happy. I want to keep feeling present. I want to keep feeling at peace. But all of this requires you to ultimately take that first step outside of your comfort zone. Because if the life that you wanted to live was in your comfort zone, you would already have it. If the life that you wanted to live was in your comfort zone, you would already have it. But it's not in your comfort zone. It's outside of your comfort zone. You have to get uncomfortable. That's why you don't have it yet. You have to do something new. You have to experience something new. You have to face the fear. You have to feel the fear and then do it anyways. Whatever you're afraid of, whatever you're fearful of, you just have to accept that you're going to feel that way. I feel afraid, I feel nervous, I feel scared, and I want to change my life for the better. That's what you have to tell yourself. And side note, this kind of relates to my previous video about like dopamine edging and always being on edge. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have this mentality of like one foot in the door, one foot out. Oh, I'm kind of half-assing, trying to be my best self, but then I'm also allowing myself to then relapse and go backwards and slip up. That doesn't serve you. That doesn't help anything. If you're going to make this change, it is difficult to go all in, but you have to go all in. You have to just say, okay, I'm going to commit to just at least today, healthy habits for the whole day. And then the next day you reset that again. Okay, today I'm going to commit to healthy habits the whole day. What does the best version of myself look like? What does the healthiest version of myself look like? What habits do they do? How would they conduct themselves in this day? And just do that. And just take it one day at a time. And eventually one day becomes 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks. You see how it goes. And then eventually you're just living that life. Eventually you're like, yo, this is just what I do. This is just how I live. I just live healthy. I just treat myself with respect, with what I consume physically, what I consume mentally. I don't consume all this crap. I consume good, healthy things that nourish me in mind, body, and spirit, and that help me feel better, feel more energized, and accomplish my goals. The bottom line is that you don't want to be addicted to your struggles. I know we're used to them and we're familiar with them. Again, it's the devil, but at a certain point, it's a toxic relationship, right? And at a certain point, no matter how toxic the relationship is and how much we're scared to leave it, you just got to do it. You just got to take that leap of faith and trust that whatever the unknown is that you're afraid of, it's going to be better than the toxicity that you were living in. It's going to be better than all the bad habits and addictions that you were living in, because that's not making you feel good. You're watching this video for a reason, because you want to learn how to escape, that shitty feeling. And you do that by taking that leap of faith and by just facing the unknown, facing it with, you might feel fear and nervousness and be scared, but also facing it with joy and gratitude and excitement. This is an opportunity for you to create a new life for yourself, to create a new identity, to be the version of you that you always wanted to be. So why not take that opportunity? Why not be excited? I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be better than what I was doing in the past. When you have that mentality, it's just going to be 100 times better. It's going to be 100 times easier. Even in the difficult moments, you're going to remind yourself, like, hey, I'm creating something brand new here. Of course, it's going to take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built one brick, one step at a time. So I hope you got a lot out of today's video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what types of videos you want to see next, and I will see you all next time.